What's going on YouTube? Gabriel Ryder here, PGA Tour driven, the movement towards improvement. We are over here at beautiful TPC Scottsdale, home of the Waste Management Open, where it's coming soon. Hanging with my good buddy Andy Patnow, one of the instructors here at the Tour Academy, and we're going to answer another Facebook question. If you're not with us or connected, go like Andy Patnow Golf, Gabriel Ryder. Andy, what are we talking about today?
We had a question last night on my Facebook page saying someone asking about how to control distances with their wedges, or just relatively how to control distances. And let's kind of start first just with how to control distances with wedges. I'm going to hit a couple and Gabe's going to hit a couple, and we're going to talk about, you know, differences in terms of maybe how I control my distance and how Gabe controls the difference, because there's no necessarily one way to do it, which is why it's always kind of fun to have two different kind of people talking about it, because maybe that will apply to you, or whatever I say will apply to you, whatever Gabe say will apply to you too.
Cool, let's do it.
Okay, Andy, explain what we got going on here with these orange cones.
So I got these cones set up. I pasted them off. They're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 60 is the pin. And from what I know from PGA Tour stats, you know, 100 yards in is a concept that you want to really sit there and work on. But I noticed that too, stats-wise, the best players in the world are extremely good from 60 yards and in, and if anything, 20 yards in, just kind of off the green. So I think it's really, really imperative for you to kind of sit here and control these distances first before you're even sitting there worrying about 100 yards, 120 yard shots. Sit here first, kind of learn how to control maybe a little bit of trajectory, length of swing, and pace a shot for, you know, 10 to 60 yards first. So let me just kind of first start with the 10-yard shot. So for me, I like using a clock system for my reference point. I want you guys to imagine that my feet here are 6 o'clock and my head here is 12 o'clock. What I do personally is that I like adjusting the club face and changing a little bit of length of swing to kind of control my distance. So this first one here is just gonna be kind of a little basic little pitch shot for me, which is a 10-yard shot. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna open the face up just slightly, all right? And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna imagine I'm going to 8 o'clock to basically 4 o'clock. And that could be kind of, you know, it could be real, like maybe a little more like 7 to 5, but for me, feel-wise, it may be kind of 8 to 4. So my 8 to 4 swing, club face slightly open, 8 to 4. And you can kind of see it's gonna go out that little bit of distance there, relatively speaking. All right, same thing here, I'll do it again. That one wasn't really my best. 8 to 4. That's a good one. And it lands at the 10 yards I kind of want to go to. So again, it could be right or wrong, but again, this is just all based off feel. So let's say if I'm going to go towards 20 yards now, what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to keep my club face slightly more open, decide to keep it the same, and all I'm going to do is increase the length of my backstroke here. All right, so let's say by 1 time. So let's say those are 8 to 4, these next ones maybe kind of 9 to 3. The club face there is still open, now 9 to 3. A little bladey, but went towards the distance I wanted. Same thing here, 9 to 3. There's a good one. Went towards the distance. All right, so that's 4 for 4 so far, which I think is pretty good. So then what I do here for my 30-yard shot is that I keep the length of swing at 9 to 3, but then I just square the club face a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do here is have the club face a little bit more square. All right, but I'm going to keep my 9 to 3 pace swing. Pretty good. Another spot one on there again. As you can kind of see, my rhythm's not really changing too much. It's kind of staying the same. All right, so on the next one here, so I got my 10, 20, 30-yard shot. What I'm going to do for my 40-yard shot now is something a little bit different than I did my 30-yard shot. I'm actually going to open my face up a little bit. And I'm going to increase the length of my stroke. So the last one was 9 to 3. This next one here is 10 to 2. All right, so one here going now. Club face a little more open. 10 to 2. A little bladey, about the distance I want though. And that's all that really matters. I don't even care about contact. It's actually the first time I've done this drill, probably about a year and a half. I don't get that many balls, people. Alright, so same thing here, 10 to 2. Club face a little open. Ooh, that's a good one. And again, pretty good. 10, 20, 30, 40 yards spot on, pretty good here. And this one here is my favorite shot. I use this shot more often, so like 50 yards in. And if I'm going to sit there and kind of land to a par 5, or maybe if I'm going to sit there and making sure I have a distance, I'm actually pretty comfortable with 50 yards for some reason. It's probably because I got these little arms and I'm pretty short. So like my 100 yards is actually 50 yards. Do the math, people. Does it make sense? No. Just kidding. But 50 yards for some reason is pretty comfy for me. Because what I do there, I keep the club face pretty square, and then I make my 10 to 2 motion, which is actually pretty pivot driven in my opinion. You can kind of see there that I'm going to land that pretty close to 50 yards every single time. That's pretty good. 10 to 2 again. Another pretty good one. So the next thing I'm going to do here is that, for the 60-yard shot, sometimes it depends. To say on a little bit tighter lie, I like kind of opening the face up a little bit to kind of help me engage the bounce for kind of a little shot. But all I'm going to do differently here is increase my length of stroke. So my first one was 8-4. Second, the 20-yard from my 20-yard to my 30-yard shot was 9-3. My 40 to 50-yard shot, I changed the face but made it 10-2. And then my last one here is I'm going to open the face up maybe a little bit and make it more of 11 to type of a 1 motion, which is almost kind of full swing-ish. All right, not all the way though. All right, so club face a little open, 11-1. Another pretty good one there. That one's a hair short, but pretty good. So I'm going to sit there and maybe adjust my face just a little bit. Maybe not as open. Yeah, it's all try and error because there's necessarily no mechanical way to do it. It's all based on feel. The only way to sit here and get better at controlling distances is you set something up just like this, and you got to practice. There's no easy way out to control distance. Let me do one more here and I'll hold out. Gabe's getting a little crazy there.
Jeez, take it easy over there.
So 10-2.
This is expensive camera. Don't shank that at me.
11-1.
That was crispy.
Okay, pretty solid. Thanks, guys. All right, Gabe, let's see what you do.
Guys, so I'll try to share with you what I do, which is actually very similar to what Andy does. I use a clock system once again. I asked my roommate, how Luke Donald does his distance control with his wedges, and he told me